gonna hurt you if you keep that weapon out. Lower the weapon, right now. Don't point that weapon at me, asshole.
The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners is a virtual reality survival horror game. In it, you will fight many zombies, and you're well equipped to do so. Guns, knives, axe, bat, bow, bigger guns, bigger knives, grenade. You will use a wide array of very cool weapons throughout the game. But what if you didn't have to? I'm sat at a campfire in the middle of the bayou with an old man called Henri. He tells me the legend has it there's a reserve somewhere in New Orleans. A bunker full of gold, probably, that's gone completely untouched, ripe for the taking, if you can find it. And Henri says he's on the cusp of doing so, but he needs our help, offering us 50% of the reserve. I try to avoid making deals with old men because they have a tendency to die before they can hold up their end, so then you gotta go after their kids and their kids' kids, and just don't make deals with old men. But I make an exception, because it's the apocalypse, and so I make my way to New Orleans. Day 1. Dead of night, I land in the city, the cemetery to be precise, where I'm supposed to meet Henri. However, my primary objective is to find a frying pan. Tiptoeing between the tombs, the game offers me my first weapon. A screwdriver, which for the intellects among you is not a frying pan, so as far as I'm concerned, this screwdriver can go nail itself. However, it quickly becomes clear why it was there. The first combat encounter, and I have no pan to defend myself with, so stealth it is. And that goes okay. Henri's been strung up like a mermaid piñata and his breaths are fleeting, and this is why you don't make deals with old men. He tells me I can have his camp. He doesn't say I can have his 50%, but I figure it's implied. And then he turns into a zombie. I should really put my friend out of his misery, but I don't have a pan. So he's just gonna have to be patient up there. I find Henri's camp. It's a rundown bus. I don't know how that wound up in the middle of a cemetery, but I'm not gonna complain. It's got some weapons I can't use. There is no frying pan to be found. But there are clues on how to get to the reserve. First step, repair Henri's radio. Day 2, find a pan, find a mic for the radio. With goals set, I hop on my skiff and paddle out into the city. I find a stowaway in my backpack, fuck off. I meet a woman who asks for my help. Her husband has turned into a zombie in the attic of a nearby house, and she can't bring herself to put him out of his misery. That's where I come in. She gives me the key to the attic, and this is where the game's biggest challenge begins.
I locked Ruben in a room, second floor of the Blue Mansion, just up the street. I noticed your watch.
She promises me a reward for killing her husband, and off I go. Ladies and gentlemen, this is called a jackpot. My first day in the apocalypse, and I've already found a hot single in my area. I am gonna need that frying pan though, and quick. The little thing we gotta take into account is the bells. Every time you enter a level in this game, you've got just over 20 minutes before the bells of New Orleans begin to chime, calling out a horde of zombies, making the streets uninhabitable. However, this turns out there's no way in hell I'm surviving a herd with only a frying pan, so I need to watch the clock. Having found the house, I immediately begin my search for the kitchen. The place is crawling with zombies, so I need to practice an immaculate degree of stealth, which I'd say I pulled off nicely. I spot the kitchen. Sneaking across, I finally find the weapon that, should things go well, will last me till the end of the game. The frying pan. I quietly make my way into the attic, where I claim my first kill. This is an absolute tragedy. Who's gonna take care of his wife now? I snatch a mic and get out of there. Excited by the new power that the pan gives me, you know I had to try it out. Oh yeah. I have a feeling by the time I'm done here, the frying pan will be The Walking Dead's most iconic weapon. I really hope this thing is non-stick. I tell the woman about her husband, and she rewards me with the code to a safe? This is the problem with women. They lure you in with a line like, "Hey big boy, if you cave my undead husband's skull in with a frying pan, I'll let you inside my mystery box," that they just know is gonna get you all hot and bothered. Then they give you the code to a goddamn safe. These aren't the kind of digits I was looking for, sweetheart. This is what I get for being a nice guy. I return to the bus ready to brain Henri with my new pan. Just one problem. He's gone. Great. So now there's an undead old man roaming around my safe grounds who could strike when I'm most vulnerable. Perfect. No, seriously, I fantasize about this exact scenario at least 4 times a day. I repair the radio and make contact with some paranoid guy called Casey. He clearly knows more than he's letting on, but like approximately 50% of American infant males, our conversation is cut short.
What the fuck was that? They coming for you?
I go to check it out, fully expecting undead Henri. I'm gonna need the key to this gate first though. You know, when it's not plagued with bugs. I love this game's atmosphere. I get the key, open the gate, and find a note for Henri, asking him to steal some info binder from a weapons cache. I'm not sure Henri's fit for this anymore, so I decide to make like my local priest and fill in. Day 3. I travel out in search of the info binder. This is where I encounter the first human enemies. Obviously much more formidable than zombies on account of their guns, which I don't have. But ideally they shouldn't attack unless provoked.
Fucking pervert.
Wait, what? I mean, he's right, but what? There are 2 factions of humans. The Tower in the blue and the Reclaimed in the red. They don't get along. It's the classic fascists versus nutters formula. Both sides are way too extreme in their respective ideals, so no matter who you side with, it's the wrong answer. I learned that the pan can cave in more than just skulls. And I find a whole new frying pan. While I fully intend to beat the game with just this one pan, it would be irresponsible to not have a backup because this is a buggy game. I see the info binder, but it's guarded by the tower, so stealth it is. I'm going to have to slowly deactivate all of these tripwire traps. Never mind. The weapons cache is full of, well, weapons, but they aren't pans, so I grab the binder and get out of there. Back at the bus, I accidentally recycle a healing bandage. And while keeping an eye out for Henri, I drop off the binder. Day 4. I get another call from paranoid Casey over the radio, who asks me to find him a pump regulator. You know who else needed their pump regulated? My local priest. Tish, I'm a victim. It seems that someone snuck into my bus while I was sleeping. You'd think that I would have closed the damn door, but I guess my character just likes to feel vulnerable. Whatever you're into, I guess. Luckily, all they've done is leave me a drawing and some food. I go to check on the info binder, and there's a new note for me. It says that they know I'm not Henri, and they asked to meet by the church. I head on over there and only briefly get sidetracked trying to pioneer basket pan. I meet the note writer, and it's a woman called May. She says that she needs the tower's info binders because it's the only good reading she can get around here. I empathize with her completely, because skip to this timestamp if you don't want your immersion to be ruined, but I'm not actually in the apocalypse. I'm just playing a video game, and I still had to take the headset off every 30 minutes just so I could get some scrolling in. People that live in the apocalypse are true soldiers, and I salute them. Since Henri's dead, she asks if I'll collect the binders in his place. The deal here is that they're in weapons caches, so she gets the binders, I get the weapons. Not a great deal given my circumstances, but I need this to beat the game, so we're just gonna roll with it. She also tells me that she has a daughter called Ambre who draws all these great treasure hunt images. A young talent. I can't wait to see her survive till the end of the game. I travel out to find Casey's pump regulator. So you might be wondering, why the pan? It's hardly the funniest weapon in the game. You can kill zombies with a spoon. What's interesting about the pan is that it's the only item in the game that does damage but isn't recognized as a weapon. It's almost like an Easter egg weapon, a gag that you chuckle at and then forget about. You're not really meant to use it. Now, there's a couple of downsides and a couple of upsides to this, but the most noteworthy effect, this being a survival game, everything that brings you protection is perishable. So the game is effectively impossible to beat with only a single weapon. Except the pan, not being recognized as a weapon, means it's the only weapon we can use indefinitely. I can't get to the regulator because it's in this big red house that's being guarded by tower soldiers. One of the guards says he'll give me the regulator if I rescue his brother who's being held captive by the Reclaimed in another house just across. That sounds like a better deal than hoping that all these guys are pansexual. So I make my way into the Reclaimed's house. They have a zombie hanging upside down, which seems like an unnecessary risk, so I try to kill it. I hit that zombie like it was the 1930s and it was my wife who had just brought me tea that wasn't the temperature I like. But I am mortified to find that it cannot be killed. No wonder they tied this thing up. If it starts walking around, I'm a goner. I walk in on the Reclaimed with the kidnapped brother. There's more of them than I thought, so I get anxious thinking about how exactly I'm supposed to save the brother. But then this Reclaimed guy says that if I kill the brother, then they'll consider me an ally and I can join them on a raid of the tower's house. Which sounds like a great deal to me. Nothing to say? What if I just...
We did what we had to do.
Okay, there you go. The Reclaimed march off to storm the house, but I do not join them. I instead watch from afar, planning to pick off the stragglers, because for the love of God, I only have a frying pan. I fight my way over to the house. Like an introvert, I see all the action is downstairs, and immediately go upstairs. The color coding is really inconsistent. Whose team are you on? That went surprisingly well. With the house clear, I find the pump regulator and get out of there. I tell Casey, and he reveals that he's actually trapped in the reserve, and he needs the pump regulator to stop the whole thing from flooding, as he would drown. Relatable. I have similar issues with your mother. Day 5. Worried that all my treasure is going to flood, I rush off to install the pump regulator. Unfortunately, the pump seems to be surrounded by zombies. Not a winning scenario for me. I need some way to get to the pump without getting attacked. Then I see a gut bag. Gut bags are zombies with exposed organs that the player can rub themselves with to disguise their scent and walk among zombies. But you need to stab a gut bag to get their guts. So this challenge hinges on whether this works or not. We're in business. I rub myself before walking through a crowd of certain death. I put the regulator in the pump, and I get out of there. And I hope I'm non-stick. I travel out to get May's binder, but I have to call it early because my pan was low on battery. On my way back to the bus, I see something. It's Henri. I try to show him what I've done with the crib, but it seems he's physically incapable of entering the bus. Having left him waiting long enough, I put my friend out of his misery. Good night, sweet prince. Day 6, not to brag, but day 6 is a cakewalk. I returned to claim May's binder, called upon my inner solid Fisher 47, snuck into the tower's compound, got the binder, and got out completely unseen. No pan necessary. Day 7. I wake up to a new drawing from Ombre, which I need to show you because it's got a cat on it and cats are good for the algorithm. Evidently puppies aren't good enough though. YouTube, my dear friend. I worked on it for 6 months. I go out to get a new binder for May. Unfortunately, but expectedly, it's in a tower compound. This one not so easy to sneak into. I mean, it's in that little shed right there. You tell me how I'm supposed to get in there.
Get the fuck out of here!
Way ahead of you.
That's the tourist? Huh. Don't look so tough. Fucking pervert.
What the hell is with you people? I sneak around the back, planning to bank on something. You see, the thing about this game's AI.
Get out of my...
Is it sucks. Hopefully enough so that I can stealth kill these guys with a frying pan. Through sheer luck and bullshit, I sneak into the shed and get the binder. Then I sneak out.
What was that?
Nothing. A zombie comes to my rescue and I sprint out amidst the confusion.
Tired of your shit, tourist!
What the fuck just happened? I go to drop off the binder for May and I call it a night. Day 8. It's perfect weather to hunt down a pump regulator for Casey, but apparently it's in a zombie-infested warehouse. I'm not sure I can pan through that. I run into a man who asks me for a favor. We walk somewhere quiet, and he tells me that he's gay. This reminds me of an encounter I had with my local priest, so I prepared to run screaming. But then he clarifies that he's not interested in my youthful form. He wants me to deliver a letter to his boyfriend. Basically, he's with the Reclaimed, and his boyfriend's with the Tower, making them forbidden lovers. The letter is to organize their little runaway together. He says that in return, he'll give me a key to get into the second floor of the warehouse, bypassing all zombies, which is a damn good deal.
Meet me back here after the letter's been delivered. I'm sure Justin will scribble a reply. He's not quite the poet I am, but I still love the guy.
Love to watch him leave. I walk into the tower compound, which is surprisingly not hostile for once. But there's still an issue. Flower Power didn't tell me what his boyfriend looked like. Kind of an oversight. Eventually I find the big fella, hand him the note and take his reply. Before I can leave though, I'm accosted by a woman who urges me to deliver a breakup letter that she wrote. Something about how them both running away from their respective cults would be dangerous.
You are putting their lives in jeopardy.
Sorry love, can't do that. I'm an ally. I have a close call.
Don't think we're not watching you. These things just keep coming.
Then I deliver the note, setting the star-crossed lovers up, and I collect my key.
Hopefully gonna make your life a whole hell of a lot easier. Back off.
I climb onto the second floor of the warehouse and use the key to get in. With all the zombies on the lower floor, I'm safe to grab the regulator. Well, there is one zombie. It's a dangerous one on account of its helmet. That's sufficient pan protection, but nothing a ring around the rosy can't solve. And I get out okay. Day 9. I go to install the regulator in the second pump, but this one is guarded by humans, who don't like me very much. That was the idea, yeah. Fortunately, the AI is so terrible that they don't know how to hunt me down properly, so they split up, giving me enough space to put the pan to one of them like they were an all-English breakfast, install the regulator, and bounce. I travel out to collect the final binder for May. It's in the same house where I first found the pan, so I know the layout, giving me a slight advantage for once. The house is of course heavily guarded, so I use a zombie as a distraction to get myself in. You know, I can understand the zombies not being able to see the flashlight, but the humans is just stupid. I fin the numbers as best I can without raising the alarm, but it is just packed in there. With the whole place being in a state of aware of my existence, I feel more seen and appreciated than I do in my actual social life. I grab a weapon, so I can use it for crafting materials, and I'm able to find the room where the binder is.
Out for a stroll? Hey.
I'm sorry, I thought he was alone. Oh, what in the weeping angels.
I got better.
This should have spelled doom, but fortunately these NPCs are so stupid they can't spell doom, leaving the binder unguarded. For a second at least.
Oh, I'm gonna.
I make my daring escape, and I'm home free. Day 10. I get another drawing from Ombre. This one, probably not as good with the algorithm. She signs all her drawings. I don't know who she thinks is gonna repost them, but I admire the hustle. I meet with May again, who thanks me for getting the last of the binders and wishes me well. It was a good partnership. I did everything. She did nothing. She got everything. I got nothing. This game really makes you feel like you own a cat. Casey calls and asks me to find his friend Kenneth and his other comrades. So I travel to the local school and grab some guts from a local. Disguised, I search the pitch-black gymnasium, where I find all of Casey's comrades murdered. Then I find Kenneth, trapped under some fallen, I guess, heavy stuff. He tells me that he killed the others. Apparently some crazy Vietnam-type stuff happened at the reserve and it really scarred Kenneth. At least that's what I was able to grasp before I stopped listening, because honestly his outlook was just kind of negative and was ruining my vibe. Life is a gift, and you have to cherish every moment of it. You shouldn't think like, I can't believe I shot those unarmed civilians. You should think like, I can't believe I got to shoot those unarmed civilians. There are starving children in Africa who could have eaten that visceral experience. Check your privilege.
That's mighty nice of you, Uncle Tommy. Before you go to the bowling alley, blow my fucking brains out.
Next best thing. After that depressing note, I decided to treat myself by indulging in some shenanigans. I tried to land a propane tank on an ambulance. I check the school kitchen and find the whole 3 pans for my collection, and I find this funny stair glitch. I was having a great time tomfoolering, but in doing so, I completely forgot to check my watch, so I wasn't ready when the bells rang. I didn't have much time before the herd came in. They started to appear. But I was able to get away just in time. I heal up back at the bus, and in a moment of curiosity, I learn I can hang up the pans. With my collection on full display, I go to tell Casey the good news, and also about his dead friend. Then he starts telling me about his side of the Vietnam type stuff, which is kind of messed up. I didn't even ask. I can't believe I got to have someone else's trauma forced on me.
And it hung there for a second, dripping. And then it flopped onto the floor. The image, I can't get it out of my head. I'm worried it'll be there forever.
Day 11 is a big day. I've made it this far, and now I just need to get the final regulator, and then I should be in the reserve, pan in hand. Something's in the air. It's 2. I heat up my pan for extra damage, which no, that doesn't actually work, but how cool would it be if it did? I walk up on yet another compound, but for once it's completely unguarded. Like a serial killer on Halloween, it looks like my work's cut out for me. Then I find the regulator.
You made it.
This is JB. He's the leader of the Reclaimed, and he asks me to hear him out on something. He says he'll give me the regulator if I Spider-Man kiss the zombie in the corner, which is absolutely disgusting. I would never do that. For free. I walk out of the building with the final regulator all snug in my backpack. Then I run into a gang of tower soldiers. They say that if I go back inside and kill JB, they'll have my back in the assault on the reserve. That could be just the angle I need to pull this whole thing off. And also, I don't think I would survive saying no. So I go back inside to kill JB. But I run into a small issue. Die. 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 Die, 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 die. Oh, what the fuck? I run and cower. Could this really be where my dreams end?
Come on! Bring it!
I guess he just had a big health bar. Now on the tower's good side, I travel back to the cemetery to install the final regulator. Nothing can stand in my way. I hit those zombies like it was 2026 and they were my wife, making the foolish error of being in my vicinity after my favorite team lost at football. Please, no. Not again. Thank you for the mercy, Immortal Guardian. With the pump's guardian less than fussed, I install the final regulator. Casey fires up the reserve, and I can see exactly where to go. The church. On my way there, though, I find Ambra dead. This is absolutely tragic. Who's gonna take credit for all her drawings now? I see the church, but the tower and the Reclaimed got there first, and there's a full-on war going on. Assuming the tower holds up their end of the bargain, I at least shouldn't have to worry about being shot too many times by anyone in blue. I get my pan out, because for one last time, I'm gonna have to sneak through the stove fire. Miraculously, I made it through the war zone without being spotted. I climb into the church where I hear Casey calling to me through a control board. He says the pumps are malfunctioning and flooding the room he's in. The only way to save him is to redirect the pumps to the armory, destroying the weapons. Wait, that's it? I was going through all this for weapons. I'm a pan-supremacist. You don't have anything for me? Fine, I guess I'll save the twink. I pan my way into the main hall, where I hear a commotion.
One step toward me and I really ring the bell. Every walker in a 5-mile radius will descend upon this place and tear everyone apart.
You don't want to do that!
Casey and May are in a standoff. May's all nihilistic because she got to have a daughter that got to die. Something terrible is about to happen. May is about to embarrass herself. I simply refuse to believe that a church bell is gonna wake up a herd of zombies, but the small war on the front doorstep was like a lullaby for them, I guess. So as an act of mercy, I cave her skull in with the frying pan.
Thanks for stopping her, tourist. I'm not sure I could have brought myself to do it.
Maybe... nah. Me and Casey share a somber moment, for a second at least.
I stopped her from doing something she would have regretted forever.
You did the right thing. I'm sorry. It's eerie.
It's certainly something. Casey's free to enjoy his freedom, and I head down into the basement. The reserve is mine. There's not much left above water. Some food, some ammo, some rifles, and some pistols that I do not need. Because it's over, baby. I walk out the other end of the reserve, and the challenge is completed. Through it all, without fail, my beloved pan served me well. The question: can you beat the Walking Dead saints and sinners with only a frying pan? The answer? No. 'Cause you have to kill zombies to progress through the tutorial, and there's no frying pan in the tutorial. So no. No, you can't. Watch my John Wick video. Subscribe.
Truth is, the game was rigged from the start.